Hello, and welcome back to part 4 of Marry Me. And again, I'm going to preface before we get into the word, unlike any word that I've ever said before, I'm prefacing this one before every part. This may not be for you. If it is, you will know it's for you because God has been preparing you and getting you ready for something exactly like this. And this falls in line with what it is that the Lord has been showing you, giving you signs of, and leading you towards. So you will know if this is for you. But for those that it may not be for, if it's for you, say, Lord, I receive it, I believe it, let it be so, let it not be otherwise. But for those that it may not be for, I come out of alignment, I come out of agreement, I renounce, denounce, repent, and uproot anything that came from this word that was not for me. There may be parts that are in it that are for you, but it's not for everybody. Not all of us are going through this exact same thing. So with that being said, let's get into the word. The first thing I wanted to say was where I left off. I was talking about they were in the hallway making a determination as they were going towards the press conference. I was saying that coming into this relationship, if you are coming into a relationship with a person that has status, influence, power, and you coming in and you regular infantile person, don't nobody know who you is, blah 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 blah, you may carry weight on you, but when you are coming in, keep your mouth shut and watch where you're going. Watch, listen, learn. There is actually a scripture that says be slow to speak, slow to anger, because people gonna come in, people gonna test you. You're gonna come in and you're gonna see something in this person's life that may be questionable to you because you're operating as a Christian person, but these people that are operating around your spouse or the person that God has called you to is your God-ordained spouse, they might not be operating the way that you think that should be operated around your spouse. And your internal righteousness might want to come out because you're seeing how they're being treated. And it's an element of, hey, maybe it's something that you need to sit down and talk with your God-ordained spouse by yourself because you got favor with them. You may not have as much favor with everybody else because you just walking into this situation. Because you may be looked at as ornamental, meaning you're supposed to come in, stand still, and take the opportunity as it is. This is going to be your moment. You've got light. You've got what have you. But they're looking at you like, oh, you just here. And God has you sitting there. No, you're not just here. You are my child. You are set in that position because I set you there specifically because of the fact that this person needs your prayer. This person needs your covering. And because now that you see what's going on around them, keep your mouth shut and pray until the Lord gives you further instruction and until that person shows you what you're supposed to do. Because you're coming in to a firestorm, okay? That's number one. Number two, this is going to be the beginning of an adjustment period. First, they go into the press conference. With going into the press conference, there are a certain series of questions that are asked, like, what is this? What are you guys doing? I mean, you just most people don't just get married. Like, you don't know this person. How you just gonna get married? It's like people meet each other all the time. So understand that because you're going to be thrown into whatever this is, people are going to be questioning. Some of your spouses, maybe they do have celebrity status. Some of your spouses may just be in a high level, high ranking job position. Like I said, real estate agent, PR agent, they got influence, they're coaches, they're what have you, but in their internal group, they're looked at like the superstar of that industry or whatever it is that you are being associated with them for. And because of whatever that is, they might not have a press conference come around, but when y'all first make your first appearance at that first dinner table meeting, at that first whatever it is, people gonna start asking questions. So, hey, when did this come about? Da-da-da-da. So there will be questions that just may not be as formal as a press conference, and you have to be ready to answer those questions. Now, in some cases, what your spouse may do, they may take charge of the situation and be like, you don't need to ask them any questions. And they will field the questions for you because they know, hey, you just coming in this, you don't need all these questions. I remember, even though they're no longer together, when Megan Good and Devon Franklin went to One LA, I believe that was Sarah Jake's church in LA, and they were getting interviewed. Somebody was irate in the audience. Y'all remember, if you ever saw this interview, was talking about, oh, you're talking about her being a Jezebel in Hollywood industry, and the Lord told me to tell you XYZ. Is what the woman literally stood up and said to her. The husband, Devon Franklin, before she could open her mouth to say anything, stopped her. Like, he raised a hand and pretty much gently gestured, no, don't say nothing. And he responded. Some of your spouses are going to respond in defense of you when you may want to defend yourself. But she did eventually, after he finished speaking, add her 2 cents to what was stated. Okay? So, you may have that type of scenario. So as they're being questioned on, y'all got married, what are we supposed to think? So you're two people that just seem to meet each other and you fell in love like that, or you two met each other and you made the decision to just get married, and they looked at each other and said, yeah. And she was making the point of saying that she was going on her big feminist mode. It's like, how about we make the decision in our feminist mode that we pick the ring, we keep our last names, and we make the decision whether he stays or not. My thing is this: we're all biblical people. We know that this is not the case. You take on your husband's last name. Hello. That's what you do. That is what comes with the territory of getting married. That the Lord takes care of all those things. And God has already set these types of marriages up. These husbands know this. The husband's going to got the ring. The husband knows that you're going to take his last name. And he knows you're going to stay. What would be the issue is the people around you questioning it. The reason that it wasn't heavily questioned in this type of scenario was the intent before they even went to the press conference. We already know how long this is going to last. So because we know how this is going to last, we know how to play this as we publicly maneuver. Now, for you, I'm going to come back and I'm going to say this. It's a few things that I want to touch on before we dig a little bit deeper in this. One, as you know, the Bastion character, he literally went from being in the picture to no longer being center stage of this picture. Some of you, and prophetic poetry did this, said something about this I'll say a month or two ago, she released a word talking about some of y'all coming in and whoever it was that was there is leaving. Just as you saw here. As Owen Wilson took the position, Charlie, he took the position as her husband. Bastion is no longer in the picture. So, with that being said, they are on their way out. And they knew they are on their way out. Some cases, this may be a scenario where maybe, now the person's marrying you, so obviously there's nobody there. But the fact of the matter is, remember how in The Perfect Match, just before he came into contact with his ordained spouse at the end of the film, the woman that he had been messing around with, she showed up at the art show just before that happened. So they are literally on their way out. Some of them, they've already had their goodbyes. Some of them, they've already, it was reconciled between the two of them. Okay, we understand this is over. Some of them, they may have even, the counterfeit may have even tried to, I'm going to test the water to see if I can come back in. If I can't, okay, then I'll let you go. It's a level of control that the counterfeit has tried to keep. Okay? Because of messing with the person's heart. You understand what I'm saying? So, with that being said, they're on their way out. And the issue is there are still and may still be emotional fissures. Meaning, you're coming in, but this relationship that's going out, depending on how tight the relationship was, meaning if this person was coming in, some of these people have been going back and forth with that previous person 2, 3 rotations, 4 rotations, 5 rotations, however many rotations, they kept going back in and out with that person. So however long that person is, I know when I was in my previous relationship, I stayed in that relationship for 7 years. We went out and we came back in, and we only lasted another year after that. I think it was a year and a couple of months after that, but it didn't last no time. So the heart wound may still, it's no longer heavily prevalent. They may have even gotten closure on it, but it still may not be something that may be a open topic, meaning don't be trying to bring up whatever that was. If they are willing to talk about it, meaning if y'all end up in a conversation and y'all start digging into y'all, who are you, what was your past, y'all start, then if it comes into conversation, but try your best to stay away from opening up past wounds. Your past is in your past, release it and let it go. But sometimes people do want to know, it's like, what was the thing that hurt you? Because you're trying to make sure that you're not doing what the other person did to them. Not that you would consciously do it, but some of them have triggers. And what the enemy likes to do is use your triggers and use their triggers to make you two come against each other. When you can disarm each other because you know each other's triggers, that takes power away from the enemy. But the Lord will lead you into how y'all will be able to discuss those things. Because communication is key in this whole situation. So that is a preface that I wanted to bring in here. So they leave the press conference and he goes home to walk his dog and the press is still trying to follow him. You are coming into a level of recognition that whatever it is, you have to make sure that you are clearing yourself up. Meaning, if you know that the Lord has already given you wisdom, that you coming into a level that you are going to have all eyes on you and everybody's going to be wondering about who you are and what's up with you, you may want to go onto your social media, onto your internet presence, Google yourself, and find out, what do I need to clean up, clear out, make sure everything is 100% kosher. Because, yeah, people might be looking to find some things about you. You might end up getting some phone calls from people you ain't seen nor heard of from a long time, because they now know, hey, she's with this person. Hey, he's with this person. Hey, I heard about XYZ. How you doing? Ain't heard from you in a while. Blah, 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 blah. Be cautious and be alert. So, she's still off doing what she's doing. So she's still living her life, but she's still talking to him. This is something that you need to come into understanding about. As you are coming into this relationship, God may do this extremely quickly. I mean, legitimately quickly, because God legitimately needs y'all together right now. And because he wants y'all together right now, and he may have this man come to you and be like, we need to get married now. Understand that you may not get to know your spouse, whether it's a man or woman. You may not get to know them until after you're married. Okay? What's her name? I forget what her name is. I listen to her every morning and I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but it was a video that was released a while back that was talking about one of the young ministers I listened to. And she was talking about, in some cases, what's going to happen is you got a dating spouse is going to do one of two things. He's going to marry you. She going to marry you immediately, meaning whatever it is, whether it's Vegas, whatever it's paperwork, whether it's courthouse, whether it's whatever it is, it's going to happen immediately. But y'all are going to end up planning a much bigger celebration to get your family members together later. Meaning, over the next 3 to 5 months, y'all gonna plan a wedding for everybody to be involved in. But during that time frame, you're going to need to be isolated between you and that person, meaning y'all gonna have to focus between the two of y'all. Some of y'all may be in a scenario where y'all are isolated and focused, meaning the Lord has provided it that for the next 6 weeks, 8 weeks, 2-3 months, y'all can focus on each other, meaning y'all go on vacation, y'all come back, you're getting a house together, y'all are determining, because now that y'all together, what's going on with your finances, how this is going to happen, what it is that you've been working on, what it is that they've been working on, how they're adjusting to you and how you are adjusting with them, how that's going to acquire and how you're going to merge whatever it is that you're doing. And coming into alignment with whatever they're doing. Maybe they may have you come in, because remember, Ruth worked in the same field that Boaz worked in. So some things that you're doing, your spouse may actually inquire for you to begin to shift and use your skill in their business. You understand what I'm saying? Or they may take the time out to sit down and understand what it is that you're working on and better be able to assist you in building it out in a which way that you're supposed to. But understand that you must have a servant's heart. And if your husband says, I need you I see that skill that you have. I better understand it. I need you to do this for me. You may have to put down what you're working on and help them with what they're doing so that one, they can see you at work and what your skill is, and two, that it gives you field experience in what it is that you're called to work on in that season. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, you may have to shift what you're putting your hands to and how you're supposed to expand it. Some of you, the reason that a lot of your stuff ain't moving is because your husband is your God-ordained deliverer. It's interesting. I was just listening, like not 5 minutes before I came on here, to a word that was talking about and further confirmed that God will send you a destiny helper, which happens to be a person, which will in some cases be your spouse, friend, divine partnership, so on and so forth. For us, we're talking about spouses in this situation, that he will send in a destiny helper that will be your spouse, that will open a door to prosperity. When you marry this person, it is going to bring financial increase to you. When Ruth married Boaz, she instantaneously became a landowner, financial steward, so on and so forth. So some of y'all are going to be giving the opportunity to use your skills to help and assist your God-ordained spouse. Okay? And you can't be afraid of that, because that's the opportunity which God has positioned you in for that season. Again, I say, don't think you're going to go from sitting where you are resting to sitting where you are resting in their lifestyle. That, yeah, you are going to have a moment of adjustment. But some of y'all going to be immediately thrust into some situations. A person I know right now just took on a job that they initially had not been planning to have, but was given the opportunity and were able to negotiate that. It's a couple of different people I know of that I follow on social media. They know that they work in the same place as their God-ordained spouse. Some of them are going to be working in the same business as their God-ordained spouse. So understand there's going to be something that's going to come up out of you connecting with your spouse. And remember back when I did Simply Irresistible, when she came into contact with this man, her stuff increased. Her food increased. Her, the people that were coming to the restaurant increased. Her orders were being fulfilled quicker. There was a recognition that came from her coming into contact with this man. So when your spouse comes into your life, it will be a whirlwind. And if it's a scenario like this where the person has status, people are going to come looking for you. Remain humble. Understand this ain't about you. Meaning, when people come looking for you, they ain't really looking for you about you. They looking for you because you're connected to that particular person. Now, the question of the fact of the matter is, are you going to use your ethics and integrity in this moment? There are some people that would sit up there and use this as an opportunity to make themselves famous. It's like, oh, now I have this position. Why don't I XYZ? No. Understand why God has positioned you there. If he doesn't have that person do it automatically on their own, don't you try to force yourself to gain popularity because you now have the connection. No. 9 times out of 10, the Lord won't give you the connection if you got a prideful heart and are not humbled with ethical and moral standing to give you that kind of access and that type of popularity. He'll let you sit knowing that that's the person you're connected to. He needs to get that haughty, prideful, unhumble spirit out of you before he ever is going to connect you to anybody that has status. Truth. Sorry, so sorry. Check your heart first. And it's funny because, interestingly enough, the person was talking about, mentioned something like this morning. I didn't even think about that. We're talking about the reason that a lot of us have been on hold is because God's been trying to make sure he got that pride out of you. Because you're about to be in rooms, places, and spaces with people that got status, and you have to remain and operate with a level head in being in these rooms, because most people can't see them for being people. They see them as dollar signs. No. If you are looking at these people as dollar signs, or you're looking at these people as an opportunity to get your thing taken care of, understand something. You have put yourself in danger. In the name of Jesus. Check your heart posture. Make sure you're in the right head and heart space, because things are about to happen quickly, and you got to make sure that you're in the right mental and emotional standing as God does these types of moves. So what happens next is she ends up taking a plane and going to she has to take a plane. She got to go out of town. So she ends up going to Paris, and she ends up calling him to tell him where she is, what's going on, keeping him abreast of what it is that she's doing, so that they can kind of appear like they have knowledge of one another. Some of you, it's going to be a transitionary period of they're going to still potentially be doing a lot of what they were doing before you came into the picture. If they were performing, they're going to be performing. If they're a basketball player, they got games. If they are a football player, they got football games. If they got whatever it is, whatever season and stuff it is that they're in the midst of, they're in the middle of it, and you're going to have to adjust to the fact that they're in the middle of it, and you're going to have to let them lead you on what it is. If you got stuff that you have that you're working on, you continue to work on what you are working on. If they have a specific need, necessity, wisdom, knowledge, whatever it is that they're giving you in order to tell you, okay, I need you to do this, you do whatever it is that they're leading you to do in that season, because God has sent them into your life to be able to lead you in the specific direction. You help, you assist however the Lord leads you to assist them in that season. But let them do what they need to do, and they're going to come back and deal with you. But you keep them covered in prayer. Understand this, that when you enter into this situation, it may be a little bit more warfare that you got to cover them under when they leave you. If they have to be separated from you, you're going to have to be more covering in this season, because of the fact that things may be trying to come against you in that way or realm. Be alert and understand which ways you need to cover them, because that means Jezebel will try it even more because you're around now. That means that there are certain things that are going to come up and be triggers, and understand Jezebel always busy. She gonna always be trying to separate, deter, cause confusion between the two of y'all, because the enemy is always about trying to put a wedge between you and your goddamn spouse. Communication is key. So if y'all communicate. The least amount of people that know about this in the beginning is the better. But let the Lord lead your goddamn spouse as to when and how and who and which he should tell. Because the less people that know about it, the more y'all can keep it protected. And God will keep you in a level of protection surrounding this relationship. He will. But you got to know that there are certain things. Don't get over there and forget everything that you learned in your dry season of the things that you're supposed to do. Just because you're there doesn't mean you stop praying for your goddamn spouse. Oh, I'm here now. No, you pray even further. Because that means the enemy has more access and he's looking to target out. Because he knows you're there. So, there are going to be moments. Y'all are going to have moments. Because you're trying to get to know each other, there are things that they're going to do. They're going to learn you. And you're going to learn them. If you like bowling, they're going to take you bowling. If you like long walks, they're going to try to take you on long walks. It all depends. They take you where they comfortably have anonymity to walk and operate. You understand what I'm saying? They're going to take you to dinner to places. If you're vegan, they're going to make sure they take you to a vegan restaurant instead of taking you to a regular restaurant where there's a whole bunch of meat. They may be being introduced to meals that they've never tasted because of the fact that they've never had it vegan. Perfect example. Let's say you're vegan. Let's say they only eat chicken. Let's say y'all go to a vegan restaurant. They don't eat seafood, but there's a great whether it be sashimi or what shrimp stir fry or something like that the restaurant has, and you're like, oh, I'm gonna try that, and they're like, I don't eat shrimp, but you're saying this actually is not real shrimp, it's vegan shrimp. Let me try that. And they tried it, and they're like, wow, they never tried something that tasted like that. And they're like, I love that, because they got to experience something new because they were with you. Vegan salmon, or what have you. They get to experience new things that they may have never tried because their diet and your diet are too different. But because they were with you, they got to experience things that you got to experience when you got to experience them with them. So it's a new element. So she goes bowling with him, and he's trying to introduce her on, this is how you're supposed to do the strike, and you put your fingers in the ball like this, and this, that, and the other. And she's like, and then she takes and she rolls a complete and full strike, coming back and laughing all in his face. And he's like, you know how to play bowling? And she said, yes, I do. And they got cameras in their face because she got her entire team there. She got the recording person. She got all of that. Look, some of you, I'm assuming that your God-ordained spouse doesn't have people around them like that 24/7.